they might get bigger, but the base of this thing is about 2 feet or more in diameter. And then you can see there's this resin that's pouring out of this at the bottom. It smells fantastic. And just like the leaves on this, the leaves are, they have that really amazing aroma. I learned that from a local guy named Daniel, that he does a lot of guiding out in the field out here, and he's very knowledgeable. And yeah, there's got to be some uses for this resin coming out of this tree, some medicinal uses. And if you look at it, there's also some resin. I'll show you here first. You can see that some of this is actually turned red. And I don't know if that's maybe the older resin that's been oozing out of here for longer. There's another spot where this is dripping out of here. You can see those in my hand. But this resin just smells amazing. I can't even really describe it to you. You'd have to find one of these copal trees if you're in Baja California Sur, and you definitely have to smell this. It could be used for some kind of antiseptic. I don't know what the indigenous people used it for. We'd have to dive into the literature a little bit, but very cool stuff. I'd be curious if other folks know of other uses for this that the indigenous people had, specifically for this resin, but just for other parts of this tree in general. All right, so check this out. This is copal sap burning on a very big piece of copal bark. There's a couple other pieces of wood and bark next to it. That smells very strong, and it gives off a very dark black smoke, which I don't know that I'd just go and breathe that in. It's kind of a weird color, but it's amazing what it's doing right now. I mean, it's getting this fire going just with that tiny piece of sap that I started with. This is another big chunk here. Try and move away from that smoke. But I mean, you could start multiple fires with this big chunk, and I'm very impressed with what that can do. All right, so after using that sap from the copal tree, this fire eventually, it smoldered for a little while. I gave it time to sit, and it took off. It needed time to get a lot of that bark real hot, and then it finally combusted. So it was pretty cool. And it's gonna be warm tonight. I'm not too worried about keeping this going for real long. It's more of just for me to enjoy my time here, solo camping. It's nice to have a fire. You know, there's a certain level of comfort that comes with that. But this is a really amazing place. One of the wilder places I've ever been, here in the Sierra de la Giganta. And I think there's a lot of natural history that still needs to be learned about this place. A lot about the plants and animals that are here. A lot of ethnobotany, a lot of history, and a lot of things related to the indigenous people that lived here. I'm sure that not all of the major discoveries have been made, although a lot of things have been studied here. I'm sure there's a lot more to learn.